Hey guys. Okay, so let's review real quick what we just talked about. We were talking about relations. Relations are nothing special. It's just a set of points. Each point has is an ordered pair. It has an x value and a y value. And the x values are called the domain, and the y values are called the range. This should be in your notes, okay, the table and the map. And then the definition will be good. You can just write down a relation is a set of points, okay? Okay, so now we're going to jump into our next word, which is functions. Now, functions are pretty cool. They're special, okay? Relations aren't really, okay? They're just points. But a function is pretty awesome, and functions make straight lines, okay? Well, they make all kind of lines, but the ones we're going to talk about now, they make cool straight lines, okay? And a function is cool because it's like a machine. And I call it the function machine, okay? And so, a machine has a certain job, right? A paper machine makes paper. I don't know, a bread machine makes bread, okay? So a function machine, it has a special thing that it does. Each function is special, and it does one thing like add 4 or subtract 2, okay? And so you put numbers in, it does its magic, okay? It does its one job, which its job could be adding 4 or subtracting 5 or whatever. It's one job, and then another number pops out. And functions are cool because if you know the job that the function does, then you know what number is going to pop out, right? Like if you put in stuff for bread into a bread machine, you know bread's going to pop out, right? So we're going to talk about functions. We're going to put numbers in. We're going to let numbers pop out, okay? The numbers we put in, I'm just going to throw this word out here. The numbers we put into the machine are called inputs. And the numbers that pop out are called outputs. Okay, so yeah, those aren't super important words, but you need to know them. So the numbers you put in are inputs, the numbers that pop out are outputs. Okay, cool. So let's look at some function machines. Boom. Okay, so each one of these machines is different, right? It has a different function. And we're going to put some numbers in, and we're going to see what pops out, okay? And the numbers we put in are x values, okay? X values go into the machine, and the ones that pop out are the y values, or the output, okay? I'm just going to throw a math word in here real quick just to help you remember. These numbers, remember, are called our domain, right? And the numbers that pop out, what are those going to be, guys? Remember that word? What is it? Range. Good job. So the numbers are about to pop out. They're called the range. Okay. So here we go. This machine adds 6. Whatever you give it, it adds 6. Okay. See, the x is what you put in, and whatever you give it, it's going to add 6 to that, and then that number is going to pop out. Okay. So it's pretty cool. So here we go. My first number I'm going to put in is 1. Okay. So if I put in a 1 right here, it's going to say, and then it's going to say 1 plus 6 is 7. And so the output for here is 7. Okay? It's not a very pretty 7. Okay, cool. So that's how it works. Okay, let's try the next one. Let's see. So I'm going to put in, what's the next? 3. I'm going to put in a 3. Here we go. Pop in a 3. It goes into the machine. 3 plus 6 is 9. And so my output is 9. Easy, huh? Okay, let's try our next one. So I'm going to put, what am I putting in? 5. I'm going to put in a 5. Boop. Goes into the machine. You like my sound effects? Okay, and then I have 5 plus 6 is 11. So coolio. So with a function, it does a specific thing. You put numbers in, and specific numbers pop out. Okay? If I put in 5 again, I just want to make a point. If I put in 5 again, 11 is going to pop out again. Okay? I'm only going to put in 5, and then 20 is going to pop out. Okay? If it's a function, then if you put a number in, it pops out exactly one other number. Okay, if I put in a 5, it's not going to pop out 10, 12, 14, 28, 32. When I put in 5 to this machine, the only number that's going to pop out is 11. Okay, just want to make that point, right? Common sense. When you put something in, you know, and it's something and a number pops out, when you put that same thing in again, the same number is going to pop out. Okay? Okay. Let's look at one more. I'm going to take us to this last one. Let's look at this one, okay? So it's a little more complicated. Don't freak out though, okay? All this machine, what this machine does, it takes the number you give it, that X, it takes the number, it multiplies with 2, and then it adds 1. Okay, don't freak out. We're going to go through it. So the first number I'm going to plug in is -1. -1. And I'll put that in, oh my gosh. Okay, -1. And I'll put that in parentheses. Okay, because when we put stuff in parentheses, that means multiply. Okay, so plugged in, okay, it's going to do its magic. They're going to multiply. 2 times -1. 2 times -1 is -2. Okay, so I got -2, but the machine's not done yet, right? It still has to, what's that, add 1. So it's going to add 1. -2 plus 1 gives me -1. So the number that pops out is -1. Okay, let's try another one real quick. Okay, what's the next number? Ooh, 0, that's easy. Okay, so right here, I'm going to plug in a 0, parentheses 0, to show that I am multiplying, right? So 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. So that was easy. So the number that popped out was 1. Now let's try our next one. So the next number I'm plugging in is a +1. Okay, so boop, it goes into the machine. It's in the machine, and now the machine does the work. 2 times 1, 2, plus 1, 3. And so the number that pops out is 3. Woo! There it is. Okay, so when you have a function, it's special because that function does one thing. Okay, it either adds 6 or multiplies by 2 or whatever. It does a special job, and then it pops out a specific number, not just a random number, a specific number. Okay. Okay, so now I would like you to, let's see, yeah, you can write this definition down, but I don't want to confuse you with all these words. So we will talk about this. You can write it down. But if you don't totally understand the definition right now, it's going to make sense when we do practice, okay? So wait 1 second. Okay, guys. So after you've written this definition down, now we're going to talk about it, okay? And I really don't even need you to worry about this right now. Don't worry about any of those words. We're going to start practicing, okay? So now we're going to look at, okay, so we know what a function is. Now we're going to look at some points, and we're going to see, is this a function? And remember, for something to be a function, when you plug in a number, 2, and it pops out a 5, every single time you plug in a 2, it's going to pop out a 5. So if you see points and you see a 2 and it pops out a 5, and then you see 2 again and it pops out a 27, you know that it's not a function. It's just going to be a relation, a set of random points, okay? So I know this gets a little tricky, and it's okay. With more practice, it'll make more sense. But a relation isn't special, okay? It's just points. It's just numbers. A function is special because when you're looking at the list of points, when you see a number go in, it pops out a specific number. When you see that same number go into a point again, it better pop out the same number again. If it's popping out different numbers, it's not a function. Okay. Okay, so let's try this. So let's look at these points. Okay. Now I'm checking. See, this is the input. I'm putting 5 into the machine. and a -2 pops out. Okay, so 5 goes in, a -2 pops out. I have to check and make sure. Does 5 go into the machine any other time? Let's see. That's not a 5. That's not a 5. That's not a 5. That's not a 5. So 5 is not going into the machine any other time. Cool. And when it does go in, it pops out a -2. Okay, excellent. So far we're good. Let's check 3. I pop 3 into the machine. It pops out a -5. Okay, cool. 3 gives me -5. Excellent. I don't really care what it gives me. I just need to make sure it gives me the same thing every time I plug it in. So 3's good. There's no other 3's going in. We're good. Okay. 2. 2 pops in. It pops out a -5. Cool. I don't care what it pops out. Okay? Don't care. I just need to make sure that every time I plug a 2 in, it pops out that same number, whatever that is, -5. So do I plug in a 2 anywhere else? No. So we're good. This is looking like a function. Okay. Let's plug in a 0. When I plug in a 0, I get a -2. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a -2 or a -28. I don't care. I just need to make sure that every time I plug in that 0, it pops out that specific number, that -2. Well, I don't see a 0 going in anymore, right? I don't see any more zeros, so I'm going to say this is good. And then my next one, -1. I plug the -1 into the machine. It pops out a -3. I don't really care what it pops out. I just need to make sure that every time I plug in a -1, it pops out that -3. Okay, and I don't see -1 going into the machine anymore, so we're going to say this is good. Okay, so this, yes, this is a function. Yes, everything is good. If you're confused at this point, that's totally understandable. But when I show you, let's see, this one, when I show you this one, it's going to make more sense. Here we go. So we're going to check these points, okay? And we're going to make sure that when I plug a number in, it pops out a number. But when I plug that same number in again, it better pop out the same number it did the first time. Okay, stay with me. Here we go. Okay, we plug in a -2. Okay, we plug it into the machine, a 3 pops out. Okay, so -2, when you put that into the machine, it only pops out a 3. That's all it can make in that machine is a 3. Okay. Now look over here. Just stay with me. Okay, right here. So the -2, it made a 3, right? Now I want you to look right over here. Oh, wait a second. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Do you see any other -2's? No, you don't. Okay. So this -2 only makes a 3. We're good. Okay. Sorry about that. This one's actually good. Wait. Look at the next one though. Sorry. Okay, that one's good. Let's see. 0. 0 goes into the machine. It pops out a 1. There's no other zeros going into the machine, so we're good. I don't have to worry about it. Okay. Here's the real one. Sorry about that. Look at this point. Okay. You're plugging in a 2, right? Okay, so into the machine, you put a 2. What should pop out, what pops out is a -4. Okay, so a 2 goes in, 2 goes in, and a -4 pops out. Okay, every time I plug in a 2 into this machine, if it's a function, every time I plug in a 2 into the machine, it has to pop out a -4. Okay, it can't pop out anything else. Well, check this out. Look at this point over here. You plug in a 2 again to the same exact machine. Now remember, machines only do one thing, right? Bread machine makes bread. +6 machine adds 6 every single time. Okay, a -2 machine takes away 2 every time. And so when you plug a number in, it only has one answer to go with it. Okay, so this 2, when I plug 2 into the machine, it better pop out a -4, or the machine's broken, right? It's like, what? I just put in a 2, it popped out a -4. I'm gonna put 2 in again. It should pop out a -4. And if it doesn't, because look right here, it popped out a +4. That's not cool, man. That is not a function. Okay, that machine is broken. I plugged in 2 right here. Sorry, let me make that the right color. I plugged in a 2, and I should have seen